Thank you to Blackology Coffee Company for sponsoring this video. Take 10% off your next order at Blackology Coffee Company by using the link in the description, www.blackologycoffeecompany.com/Angela. Hey everybody, my name is Angela. I am your host and producer here at Indian Hustle, and I am joined today by Danny Rosin. Danny Rosin is kind of a local business leader, superstar here in the Raleigh area. He is the co-founder of Band Together and the co-founder of Brand Fuel. Thank you so much, Danny, for taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm just so honored to be here. And I'm going to say thank you for raising your hand. I think we got connected a little bit here just because of our love of this community, but you raised your hand to help Band Together. And it's a volunteer-driven organization, which I know we'll talk about today, but you are the epitome of why our organization is successful. So thank you for offering your talents to help Band Together out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So speaking of Band Together, for people who don't know that are watching this, they're a nonprofit that raises money for other nonprofits through this huge benefit concert that they hold once a year. So can you tell me your experience with reaching out to that first band to perform in that first concert? What was that like?
Yeah, so maybe a little bit about the Band Together model, if I can share a little bit there so people understand what it is. We're a nonprofit that uses live music as a platform for social change in the Triangle. So the dollars stay here, the events that we put on these live and now live stream concerts stay here. I think the key differentiators are that, we're choosing a different nonprofit partner to work with after a very rigorous vetting process. So we go in and we call that partnership philanthropy. Now we're moving into sort of from a one-to-one model to a one-to-many with many nonprofits working together with them through a partnership with the United Way, which we just announced. So news breaking information on Honey and Hustle. So that's good. In this partnership, I think the idea is that we're learning a lot from each other, best practice sharing. We're putting on these large scale concerts. We're donating now $1 million to each cause, which is insane and just like fills my heart. It makes me so happy. It's become one of the largest nonprofit live music events in the Southeast for sure. Maybe, the United States, maybe the universe, I don't know. But we like to say that we are the organizational equivalent of a mullet. That haircut where it's, business in front and party in back, because we're kind of bringing those worlds together with the events, raising money, changing the world, but we're having some rock and roll times too. And then I like to say about it, in tragedy, good things can happen. So if you think about, what that first event is that you asked about, it was around 9/11. So we hit our 20th year anniversary comes up in several months. 9/11, there was this idea that we would respond to what happened and try and help the families who were adversely affected by the tragedy in New York City mainly. And so it was mostly around families, but also firefighters and their families. And there was just a deep sense of purpose. We asked bands to donate their talents to support something that, I think needed to bring the country together, maybe even our area. And because there were multiple bands, there were multiple plays on the words band together and banding together. And so the first event was about these firefighters. So we called it Band Together for Our Heroes, which we dropped the For Our Heroes. But that night we had firefighters from New York City flew down and stood on a stage and told stories. And it was awesome. And so I think what's important to note here is that, and maybe kind of getting at the question of the band side of things and selection and all of that, we would love it if the bands would play for free to help us with the community objectives. But in almost every single live event situation we put on, we pay the bands, and I think part of that is there's a culture of wanting to support the artists as well as the community projects and the nonprofits that we're working with, which is such a great connection point. I mean, supporting the music, it adds integrity into what we do. And then you start thinking about these local bands that we booked. They get to open up for some of the bigger bands that we actually pay a lot of money to have come play. And these are international acts like Ben Folds, Michael Franti and Spearhead, Hall & Oates, St. Paul and the Broken Bones. You saw that show last year. Grace Potter. We've had P-Funk, Lyle Lovett. last year we also had Toots and the Maytals. He passed away. He had COVID. You know, rest in peace, Toots. But you know, like I just love the idea of giving a local band an opportunity to say they opened up for one of those big bands at Red Hat Amphitheater, 5,000 people. Great resume filler, but we're all like have this sense of purpose. Going back to that, we're helping our community in some mighty way and having fun along the way.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Because I think the person that opened up for St. Paul and the Broken Bones 2 years ago was a local act, and like
that's right.
People are all over it, you know what I mean? So you have that local love, and then you're maybe even introducing them to people they haven't heard of too, with St. Paul and the Broken Bones. I mean, obviously, I would hope that you've heard of them if you bought a ticket, but you know, either way, it's a good night of music, and it's a good way for just to bridge that music connection and that love of, you know, the cause for that year. So I think that's awesome for sure.
Yeah, right on.
And so just kind of speaking on that link, this is an annual event, and it's kind of a really big music event staple here, like hopscotch, right? But because you only host it once a year, like how are you keeping people engaged in your fundraising efforts and your mission for the year, and just keeping engaged and in touch with the nonprofit community and what, you know, may be of more importance to people and things like that from year to year?
Wow. Gosh, it's, I'll just be honest, it's really effing hard right now. It's, you know, I think we're getting to a good place, but I don't know about you, Angela, but I could use some live music with my friends right now. Like I am jonesing for that. I want to get back at it. And, you know, the good news is we have a date on the books, October 23rd. So if you're listening, you know, in this partnership with the United Way, more to follow on we've actually locked down a headline band already, and, you know, provided things get better, which it seems like they are, you know, I'm hopeful. But the model is, you know, we have one major event that you got to attend with St. Paul, and typically that's in the late spring on a Saturday night with multiple bands and experiences for fans that, you know, are delivering both live music and this kind of opportunity for community to come together to help those in need. And again, it's that partnering nonprofit idea that rotates annually. And so we're bringing some of the fans of St. Paul's into this world of like, hey, you're coming to a Band Together event. Maybe we can bring you over to, you know, join our community commitment. And then there's the flip side of that. A lot of fans of the community and trying to help these nonprofits are now exposed to great music. But throughout the year, we have mid-size and also smaller, more intimate music events to help with the fundraising objectives. But I think most of those are about banding together the community to learn, to grow, to help, to have some fun. You know, without the fun, you know, we're nothing. We are completely nothing. And, you know, I like to say we're having a fun crisis in the world, and that Band Together is doing everything it possibly can to address that, as well as, you know, tackle the issues in our community, like food insecurity, racial injustice, you know, life and job skills training with employment placement, health insurance for wage earners, family mental health. I mean, there's so many things we've worked on, but music ends up being the glue, really the connector for our work. And I think, you know, the Band Together model is to deliver these great music events, market the shows and the needs of the community together, and do that at the event. And the community shows up, whether they're fans or volunteers, sponsors. I mean, gosh, on the sponsor side, it's not like you're just writing a check, you're getting tickets to go to a show, and there's employee engagement for volunteerism and bringing their families to the show, and marketing and business development opportunities. So, you know, we get them there, and once we get butts and seats and they're having this great time and we're talking about improving the community, we hope we, you know, pull some heartstrings and open some minds. And if you can afford to, you know, buy a ticket to a show, maybe you'll consider donating some of your, you know, time, treasure, or talent back to the community and have some fun with us. What's the quote? Hunter S. Thompson, he said, buy the ticket, take the ride. I would add to that. I'd say buy the ticket, take the ride, but also support your community. And, you know, and that's kind of, I think, the essence of what we're doing at Band Together with these events along the way. But it's hard. It really is hard during COVID to bring people together. But we're getting back to it, back to it.
Yeah, so you touched on some of the issues that you guys have tackled at Band Together. And some of those issues aren't always fun to talk about, even though you guys are a fun organization. Like last year, amidst a lot of, you know, what was happening in the world and in our society here in the United States, You guys did Band Together Against Racism, and then you also did a fundraiser for the Save That Stage campaign, which was a part of a larger national campaign to, ensure that local music venues will be here after the pandemic, right? Because they were really struggling with the use of that space. So what was, the thought process behind just like diving in head first to a topic as heavy as banding against racism and making that stand and making that in this community? I mean, like, no matter where you are in the United States, no matter how egalitarian you feel like this community is, there's always going to be people who don't agree with something like racism. So what was your, why did you guys feel like it was important to be a part of that conversation at Band Together?
Yeah, and that's a lot to unpack. So there, I think there's kind of what we did last year is what you're talking about, which is the Save Our Sages and the Call for Change work that we did. I'll start with Save Our Sages, kind of the lighter lift here. I think supporting local bands, the venues that, that's without them, we can't make the magic happen. So critical on so many levels. We just can't do what we do without them. We've lost these special places through COVID and just our inability to survive, like Emerge and the Maywood, and there are others that are really struggling. And so I would just ask us all to think about the situation we're digging out of, and in the music side, like how important is supporting a venue to music fans if you're a music fan, to think about moving or starting here, having someone new come to our area, and do arts and cultures get diminished by losing these venues? And I'd say, yes, they are. Does losing these venues matter to our city officials, to tourism, to our tax base? For me, this is about an investment in our local music scene that is about building a stronger and I'd say a more vibrant creative culture in a way. And I think the loss is going to negatively impact this area for years to come if we don't start to double down on investing in and helping support these venues. And I'm not just talking about cash injection, which is great, but let's start, buying their T-shirts and their records that they're selling, and let's start going to shows and not worrying about the price as much if we can. But these are the platforms that drive a more diverse and vibrant community and in a region that I think is super important. And we're talking about music so much, but gosh, think about these venues. Yeah, what's happening? There's open mic nights. We've all been to a poetry contest. At King's, they have this stupid Petrix event. I know Lincoln Theater houses like church events. We have our volunteer meetings at a lot of these venues. Comedy, dance, spoken word. Been to some amazing spoken word at these events, at these venues, TED Talks. A whole bunch of stuff. We need to give creatives a voice on these stages, and the audiences need to come together right now to share those experiences, to rebuild, connect. So I think that's the Save Our Sages answer. It was hard, and it's I think we're digging out. With regard to call for change, I always say community issues need community responses. And I think Band Together was well positioned to take on both of the Save Our Stage and Call for Change. And I think, I hope after 20 years, we're a trusted source. But this partnership with the United Way, we were raising $1 million before. We raised over 200,000 during COVID, which was huge. We had loftier goals. I'm really proud of that. But now we're working with the United Way. We've learned to work together, and we're working on going into 2021. There's this partnership around supporting approximately 100 nonprofits in the community who are working on any of the 3 pillars that they have at the United Way and now band together. One is called Cradle to Career. Another is Healthy Families. And the last one is Equity and Leadership. And I think that's really interesting and powerful because there's just so much work we can do in all 3, and some of them overlap. But we have to remember it's not all about the money too. This is an opportunity to learn and grow and share and be a voice. And so, it's so trite for me to say as a white person, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's just, racism isn't just a black problem. It's everyone's problem. And so that kind of methodology for Band Together, just say this is all of our problems. We have a voice and an opportunity to share our this situation with people and show them how they can help, because we're vetted. So run funds through Band Together and the United Way to vetted nonprofits that are doing that hard effing work in our community. So that equal rights for everyone doesn't mean fewer rights for you. You know, that nonprofits doing this hard work, they're uplifting future leaders. So that equity and leadership piece is really important to us. And, you know, I am seeing and a part of this shakeup, you know, and what I'll say is the makeup of the boardroom. And if the boardroom, not just for nonprofits, but for profits, you know, if it reflects the makeup of the community, shit is going to get better. And that means developing more leaders with different perspectives. And the question is, who are we going to give the microphone to so that we can have a greater understanding of our shared potential? And who gets that? And it's kind of a rant, but it all comes back to partnership philanthropy to me in terms of what Band Together is doing. We're a mighty staff of 2 people, you know, Thorne and Hannah, that are amazing, that we're setting out to you know, donate $2 million this year. And we've learned that this partnership with United Way and the community is going to help us get there. That anti-racism community fund is where the dollars went. And we'll be revealing the nonprofits that are, you know, going to be addressing the systemic structures and housing, food, healthcare, education, workforce development, all of which have racism. Racism exists there, and that there's disproportion, and these funds are going to help build a more equitable future. It's a step in that direction, and I think us having a voice with the leadership of Band Together and the board coming together with United Way and those nonprofits, it's just awesome to me. And as a postscript, I will say, and I know I'm rambling here, you asked a little bit about, you know, brand fuel and my company. We just exist to be, I guess, a kind of a mindful sponsor of Band Together, with people here on my staff who care and get involved and get invested. You know, we're volunteers. We're donating branded merchandise. We're helping with marketing and fundraising. We're going to the show. We're dancing our faces off. And if there's anything there that, you know, I can say as a sort of a for-profit person owning a business, like, there are opportunities for other organizations to do the same and join forces with Band Together and United Way. Let's have some fun and do some good in the community. Woo! Am I sweating?
Just sweating.
Lord. That was a lot, man. You got me going. I'm sorry.
It's all good. That was perfect. That was perfect. And I appreciate the thoughtful answer, because I feel like it deserves something that really was open and honest and deserving of a deeper conversation, which is a large part of what nonprofits have the agency to do in communities, or to just start the conversation. Some people aren't aware. Sometimes nonprofit service and educational piece, you know, it's the cash injection, that's great from the fundraising, like you said, but, you know, it deserves a larger conversation of why we're doing this. You know, it deserves some attention to, like, who is this affecting, positively or negatively, hopefully positively. And how are we moving in the direction of being positive change agents within our community every year, every iteration? How are we getting better? How are we working towards serving the people that need it in our community? Whether that's through making our board reflect our community, or maybe it's through who we're funding specifically. I think that's just, like, so important. So what is your opinion? Because you did talk about brand fuel and kind of your perspective as a for-profit, you know, business owner. What is your perspective on business owners and being really business leaders and positive change agents within communities? Like, what is your perspective on that?
Well, brand fuel, we're applying for our B Corporation certification. And so this is about, there's some governance and rules and regulations around running your business as a force for good is kind of a marketing way to say it. But that movement around purpose-driven businesses is such an opportunity for organizations to get invested, involved, looking at stakeholder value versus shareholder value. So, the employees, the environment, your supply chain, really looking at how businesses are behaving and treating, their employees. Are they giving them healthcare? Are they doing the right thing? And so I think that's an awesome movement to kind of look at. I feel like it's it's not really just a responsibility, but it's an opportunity and probably a privilege to be in a position to lead through this, but it is hard. And I would just say, for other business owners, be early and vocal and thoughtful, and listen with intent. Show others it's okay to stand up and speak out, and to be open and honest and vulnerable, which is hard for business leaders. The willingness to risk market share and do the right thing just do the right thing. You may alienate some customers or employees along the way, but you'll find the right people and you'll bounce back. Doing the right thing is a pretty good mission statement, kind of broad, but take care of your employees, serve communities that have been good to you, do it with integrity. I said something the other day, caring is a great strategic plan, and the best part of that is that, caring is contagious. At Brand Fuel, sometimes we use the word love and family, which seems a little weird to some people, but we got to care about each other internally first, and then we can start to do the work of loving customers and our communities, and so I think that's how do you start internal so that you can start to build a plan and a program around doing more than just selling widgets. I guess how's that?
Yeah, no, that's good. You're the second person that said widgets to me this week, so I'm just intrigued by this word now.
It's funny.
Oh man. But thank you so much for joining me and sharing a little bit about your story and just sharing how Band Together is just making waves in the community and they're not stopping even after 20 years. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, it's such an honor and a privilege to work with you on this thing. But more importantly, I look forward to being able to see you in person and seeing what you're going to be able to do in terms of helping Band Together with its voice and bringing more people into the organization to help the community in stronger and in more impactful ways. So thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Right on.